Designs. I'm jumping on to do a quick video on putting an internal divider pocket into a bag. So at this step, I've made the pocket piece. It's all ready to go. I've basted those edges. That will really help in making it not move too much. And I've got my lining. I don't have a facing on this one, but that's okay. Zipper pocket with the zipper open. So the first step is to take your lining piece and we're going to start on the bottom seam. So get your divider pocket. You want to match it up along that base in between the boxed corners. It can help to pop a couple of clips and that'll hold it in place. Then take your other side. If you're using waterproof canvas, make sure that you do have the right side. So usually this would be the interfaced side. Pop it on top, make what I call a sandwich. You can see it all together. Pop your clips in so it doesn't move too much. This is why basting it really, really helps, because it's just going to stop it wibble wobbling. Now, the important step. You need to mark 1 centimetre on both sides. Because this is the no-sew zone. You're going to sew from here to here and leave 1 centimetre at each side free. That's going to help boxing it down the track. I like to use pins as a really good visual reminder for me. So I usually use clips, if anything. A pin, my brain goes, ooh, pay attention. So I'm going to sew from this 3/8 of an inch, 1 centimetre marking, from there all the way across the base and stop and leave 1 centimetre free. So let's do that step now. Just sew, as per usual, 1 centimetre seam allowance. Remember to backstitch. Get that nice and secure in there. We're just going to sew all the way along. Remembering to stop and leave 1 centimetre, 3/8 of an inch gap. Again, make sure you backstitch. So that is the base seam in. Now, if you're using a bag that has facing, well, a facing, it's actually quite important to match that facing seam on each side. Because when you look in a bag, you really notice that. You're not going to notice in those bottom corners. They're all the way down in the bottom of the bag. And at the top here, if it's not quite even, you can hide that inside. So I start with those corners and make sure that I match those seams up and they're sitting next to each other. If I've got a really big jump, if it's like a thick leather down to a fabric, I'll even baste inside. So I'll stitch along at the 2/8 or 7 millimetres to hold it in place, so when I come to sew the side seam, I know that's secure and it's not going to slip, and you're going to get that nice line across on the facing. On this particular one, there's no facing, but if there was a facing, let's pretend there is, I would clip that facing. And even if the top was slightly out of balance, we can fix that when you're doing the top stitching. So the next step is we're going to grab the corner of the divider pocket and match the side seam to that. Now this is why we needed to leave that centimetre. You're going to pull that all the way down to the bottom on this side and flip to hold it in place. And you can push what will be the box corner out of the way. And get the other side You're going to do the same thing, just push out of the way, pop that corner. Again, if the box corner is sort of getting in your way, just flip it out of the way. And get that divider pocket. Flip it all along. Now here at the top of the divider pocket, you'll have another area with a step up and a step down. So if it's thick, make sure you use a hump jumper. What I like to do is put a clip just on the other side of it with both sides even, all the way to the top. We're going to sew along this side seam. So let's make sure that in this corner, you've moved the base seam out of the way. You've just got, that's the lining, that's the pocket, lining pocket. Now again on this one, we're going to come in 1 centimetre or 3/8 of an inch. So this is the no-sew area. Sew along here. And I will use a trusty pin. Again, sewing at that 1 centimetre, 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So, back stitch to hold it in place. And we're going to sew all the way along. Now I have 2 different styles of pump jumper here. This one has narrower and taller, and then it has the curve out that fits underneath the foot. This one has a thicker and a thinner size, and again, with the curve out that fits underneath the foot. I just personally prefer using this one, but this one's perfectly fine. You can also use a needle packet or a screwdriver or just anything you've got on hand. You don't need a tool. You just need something that you can either put under the back of the foot or under the front of the foot to keep that foot nice and level and stop it getting wonky and giving you sort of bunched up stitches. So, sew along. Again at that 1 centimetre, 3/8. So this is the top of the pocket here. You can see that there'll be quite a step down. And this is where the hump jumper comes in, because what I can do is put this on top, but you can see I can put it right up to the edge of where the divider pocket is, so it makes it smooth for the foot travelling past the divider pocket. So all the way up to that sort of cliff edge, and then this part will sit underneath the foot. I'll just do a few careful stitches. And then once the foot's down the other side, you can take it out. And sew all the way to the top. So then you're left with the corners. You can see it already wants to box those corners. It's pulled in on both sides. When I'm boxing corners, unless it's a super delicate leather or something that's going to crease, I like to put a clip out here to really help guide the fabric and help it sit flat. So I'll do that on both sides. And just a matter of working with this corner. So what I like to do is just push the top and the bottom in different directions. And again, because we haven't sewn all the way up, you get a little bit of movement there. And start clipping. You can see This is the box corner, and we're going to sew all the way across at the 1 centimetre 3/8, and it should bring you just up to where you started and stopped. If you are really struggling with this, you can do one side, stop, one side and stop, and then go across all the way on a second go. I find if you just go slow and steady, carefully moving things as you go, I find it works quite well. So I like to back stitch all the way across the fold. So go back quite a few stitches. I find that gives me a crisper corner. And you do want to keep this as straight a line as possible. When you come to that thick part, if you're at all worried, hand wheel. You can feel everything that's going on. You can feel if your machine's not going to like what you're doing when you hand wheel. And again, if it's really thick where the pocket is and you're stepping down, use a hump jumper, which I'm going to here because I can actually get my finger under the front of the foot. So I'm going to use that hump jumper just to give the foot something to work with so it slides off the cliff. It's flat again. And that is the corner. I will probably put a second line of stitching on there just as a little bit of security, and it just stops it from wibble wobbling too much. So I'll put that second line of stitching right up next to the first. And that is a box corner. You can see this is how it will look on the inside, but if I turn it inside out, you can see it's got a lovely crisp corner on the edge, and there's no holes, there's no gaps there. It's ported in nicely. And, of course, repeat this for the other side seam. And that is how you put the zipper divider into a bag.